Okay, so finishing up the transformations, we're going to first look at, I know we started this already, but the quadratic transformation. And so I'm just going to kind of just revisit the approach that we have on this. And so that approach is that what we're going to do is we're always going to plot these 3 points right here. And then we're just going to use the transformations. And that's going to be the easiest way for you to approach this. Okay. So here is the list in the order in which you want to apply these transformations. Okay. We've already done each one of these, so hopefully you recall that from the previous lesson. But we want to start with horizontal transformations. Okay. And go to any stretching or shrinking. Then is there any reflections? And then the last one is vertical shifting. So I know this is kind of silly, but if you just remember, horizontal is going to be the one of the first letters in the alphabet, right? And vertical shifting, the V is one of the last letters in our alphabet. So maybe that'll, excuse me, sorry. Hopefully that'll help you keep the order straight, okay? Because it will matter what order you apply these transformations when you're graphing them. Okay, so when we look at this first one right here, we got two transformations. So we'll start with the horizontal transformation, which right here is telling us we're going to go to the right 2 units. And then that negative in front right there is going to cause the y's to basically become the opposite, or basically the points that we're looking at are going to reflect across the x-axis. Okay, so once again, I'm going to start with those original points. We had a point at -2, 4, 0, 0, and 2, 4. And we're going to take all three of those points and apply what I just wrote down. So we're going to go to the right 2, and then flip across to the right 2, flip across. Well, I don't really, I'm on the line of reflection, so I can't really do that. Go to the right 2, flip across, and now I'm ready to graph it. And there we go. And if you really want to, you could plug in some points and see that they all kind of work out, that that's what you're supposed to be getting as a result. So I'll go ahead and move on. This next one's really not that bad. This looks like we're going to go to the right 2, and then we're going to go up 1. That's what that +1 tells us. So once again, we'll just put those 3 points as guiding points. So let's see, right 2, up 1, right 2, up 1, right 2, up 1. Let me just try to draw this with some curvature. Mine's a little messy, but that's okay, as long as you draw it with a curve, okay? We will have some V-shaped ones later, so we don't want to start mixing them up. All right. So on 61, let's see, once again, I'm going to go to the right 2. And then this time it's telling us that transformation is one of the stretching and shrinking is actually going to cause the graph to kind of shrink a little bit horizontally. Or I guess you could look at it as stretching vertically. But anyways, what's going to happen is the y values are going to double. So y values double. Okay. So once again, we'll plot our original points there. And so let's see, go to the right 2 and double up to 8. Okay. Go to the right 2, double from 0 to 0. Okay, so I stayed 0. Go to the right 2, my y value goes from 4 to 8. So my y value doubles. Now, see what happened was it shrunk it in horizontally, and or you could kind of think of it as stretching it vertically also, but it kind of has the same effect. And so your y values are taking off at a faster rate, so it kind of squeezes the graph in a little bit, makes it a little bit narrower. Okay, and then our last one here is going to have all four transformations. So you got to go in the right order. So we start with horizontal. So this is going to be to the left one. Then we look at any stretching. So we got a 2 there. So the y value, fix that. The y value is going to double. Okay, here we go. The y value doubles. Okay, and then we're going to go across the x-axis, and then we're going to go up 1 unit. That's our transformation here. So let's see, let's go ahead and plot our original points. That's what we're doing is we're just putting the original points for x squared. So here we go. So we're going to go left 1. Then y doubles all the way up to 8, but then when you flip across the x-axis, you actually end up at -8. And then we end up going up 1 unit. So we end up right there. Let me try to switch colors. Let's see. Differentiate between those and the original ones. There we go. Okay. Then the next one, go to the left 1, double the y value, which you're already at 0. So you stay at 0, reflect across the x-axis. You're on the x-axis, so you stay there. And then we go up 1 unit, so we actually end up right there. Then next, let's see, starting here, we're going to go left 1, double the y value, so we go up to 8, but then we go across to -8, and then we go ahead and go up 1, so we end up right there. And so we'll go ahead and draw this right here. And right here, and just to kind of show you that this works, let's see, this point was at -3, -7. So we can go ahead and plug in -3 real quick, just so you all can actually see this in action. So let's see, we have -2 times -3 plus 1 squared plus 1. So I'm just taking this and I'm plugging in -3 for x. And so let's see what happens here. So we're going to end up with -2 times -2 squared plus 1. And so then let's see, this can be -2 times 4 plus 1. So that becomes -8 plus 1, which is -7, like it's supposed to be. But obviously, instead of having to do this, 3 times with those 3 points, which I guess you could do if you really wanted to, if you can get the transformations down, you'll be able to do the problems much faster. So, all right. Let's see, I think we're going to go on to a different type of function now. We're going to look at the square root function. So we're somewhat familiar with taking square roots. We've dealt with that. So just a couple reminders. Whenever we square root numbers, we want them to be non-negative. So you can square root 0, but you don't want to square root any negative numbers. Also, basically, typically, whenever you do square root, you want your numbers to be perfect squares. And so perfect squares would be like 4, 9, 16. So the transformations are going to work the same way here. Just that instead of having a square, you're going to have a square root. And basically, we'll focus on these 3 points, transforming those 3 right there. So we'll take 0, 0, 1, 1, and 4, 2. And we'll just, once again, just apply those transformations. So this first one's pretty basic. We're just adding 2 to the square root of 2, right? So that's going to cause us to go up 2 units. So once again, you don't have to do this part, but I think a lot of students find it helpful. Put those first 3 points and then just move them all up 2 spots. And then when you draw this, it's basically like half of a parabola on its side from the previous graphs we were doing. Okay, can't plug any negative numbers in there, so that's why we don't have any points over on this side. And if you want to, you could plug in numbers and you'd see that it would work out. Okay, this next one, we have the +2 inside. So remember, you're going to do the opposite of what you would really think. You're actually going to move to the left 2. Okay. So once again, we'll take these 3 original points and we'll move to the left 2. Here, here, and here. And there we go. So like I said, life's going to be pretty easy if you get these transformations down. If not, I mean, you could plug in points, but just have to be careful because you don't want to plug in anything less than -2 because then you'd square root a negative and that wouldn't work. Okay, this one's interesting. We are going to go to the left 2, and then that negative is going to cause us to reflect across the x-axis. So we'll go across the x-axis. Okay, so once again, plot those first couple points right there. And then, so we're going to go left 2 and then across the x-axis. So left 2, and then you're actually on the x-axis so you don't reflect. Left 2, and then you go across, so you end up down here. Left 2, go across over here, you reflect across. So this time, the square root graph looks like that. That opens down. All right, so let's go to the next slide, which is going to be more of this type of function. All right, so here we go. So we won't see this too often, but we do see the negative directly in front of the x. So the +2 still works the same way. That's going to cause us to go to the left 2, okay? But that negative inside is going to cause a reflection across the y-axis. So we're going to go across the y-axis this time. All right, so once again, you want to start with those 3 standard points right here, and then just follow this. So left 2, and then this time I'm actually going across the y-axis, so I flip over to here. Now this is kind of interesting right here because you go left 2, and then you actually flip right back to where you started. So that point actually went right back to where it was. And this one goes left 2 and then reflects over, and it's over here. So this one's actually going to open up going the other direction now. Kind of messy on that one, but hopefully you get the idea. There we go. And once again, if you really wanted to, you could plug in some points if you wanted to. So like, you know, just so you can kind of see this in action. So if you were to plug in -2, what happened is you'd have the square root of the -2 plus 2 turn into the square root of 2 plus 2, square root of 4, which is 2. So you can see that point right there. And you could try the other ones if you really wanted to. All right. Let's see, our next one here, once again, left 2, and then we have a 1/2 in front. So this time we're going to cut y in half. Okay. So once again, we'll start with our standard points here. And we'll go left 2, cut y in half. Well, y is already 0. Go left 2, cut 1 in half, so you go to a half. Go left 2, cut y in half, so you go right there. So this guy, what it does is it really makes this guy rise real slowly because you're cutting all your results in half after you plug in your x value. So square root's already cut down quite a bit. So this does even more. So it's causing a little shrinkage vertically. All right. Let's see, 77. Oh, we got two more. Okay. So on this one, I'm going to go left 2 and down 2. So once again, start with those points and just follow your directions. Left 2, down 2. Left 2, down 2. Left 2, down 2. And there we go. There's that one. That one wasn't bad. Okay, our last one that we're going to look at has 3 transformations, and it's really not all that difficult. You just got to make sure you do it in the right order. So horizontal first. So this time we're going to go left 2, and then let's see, we're going to stretch and we're going to go down 2. So you got to stretch first. So we're going to double the y values, and then last we're going to go down 2. So once again, put those first couple points up there, and then we'll follow the directions from here. So left 2, you double the y value, well, you're doubling 0, and then you go down 2, so you're going to end up right here. Now this guy, we go left 2, you double the y value, so you go from being at 1 all the way up to here at 2, but then you go down 2 spots, so you actually end up right here. And then this one left 2, double it all the way up to 4, but then you go down 2, so you actually go right back to where that spot was. And so then when you draw this, it looks like this right there. Okay, and so what happened was you were doubling the y value this time, so it's actually going up a little faster right there. And if you wanted to, you could plug in a couple of these points just to, see how it works. But like I said, if you get the transformations down, they're all the same. Just we're looking at different types of graphs. And so let's see. We have a couple more we're going to look at, but I'll go ahead and stop this video and I'll pick up another part 2 in just a second.